Let's talk about my summer guitar trading extravaganza. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Guitar Gear Trader channel. I am Steve, coming at you from Nashville, Tennessee, as always. And I know it's been a little while, okay? It's been a couple of weeks since I posted a video, and that's because school's out for summer. It's been out for me since I'm down here in Tennessee since the beginning of June, and I have been doing nothing but traveling over the past 4 weeks or so. So I finally got a minute to myself and wanted to kind of update you guys on some of the trades and deals and sales and purchases that I've made over the past couple of weeks. Just because I haven't made a video doesn't mean that my hobby stopped. It doesn't matter if I'm on vacation or if I'm traveling for my kids' softball tournaments or baseball tournaments. I'm constantly on Facebook and Craigslist and Reverb trying to see what deals are out there and what deals I can make and what gear I can acquire or trade for and things like that. So I just want to catch you guys up on a couple of trades that I made because they're going to be important for future videos when I demo and review some things that I get. Before we get into that, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment, follow me on Instagram at Guitar Gear Trader. So let's get into it. So one thing that I like to do, and you've heard me say it on previous episodes, is sometimes I buy things that I don't necessarily need or want because I think it's a good deal and it will come in handy later on when I'm trying to trade for other things. Well, in this case, I bought something a while back that I really wanted at the time, and then over time it became something that I didn't necessarily need or use as much as I thought I was going to. And that was my R7 Gibson Custom Shop 1957 Gold Top Les Paul. I got that guitar in a trade for, I can't remember what I traded for it, to be honest with you. I've been thinking back, I was trying to look back at messages on Facebook. I'm pretty sure that I gave up a J45 acoustic and a Les Paul standard that I got from the demo shop. So for those two guitars, which I got both of them from the demo shop for a pretty good deal, I think I got the Les Paul standard for like $1,800 from the demo shop, and I got the J45 for around the same price. So I was into those two guitars for around $3,500, and I traded for, I don't think people would call it vintage, but an early 2000s custom shop 57 Gold Top reissue, which was my first ever, at the time, custom shop Gibson and custom shop Les Paul. Well, I don't want to say my first custom shop because I've had Les Paul customs. It was my first ever reissue of a Les Paul. I never had an R9 at that point. I never had an R7 or an 8 or 6. Any Les Paul or Gibson custom that I had was just a straight up Gibson Les Paul custom. They weren't reissues. So that was my first reissue guitar. And I always wanted one of those. Didn't necessarily want a gold top because gold tops aren't necessarily my thing. I really like the black custom shops or the cherry sunbursts. But I thought it was a good deal. I wasn't a huge fan of the Les Paul standard that I had at the time. And I really liked the J45. I kind of wish I didn't get rid of that one. But they all kind of sound good, no matter, every J45 I've ever picked up has sounded pretty good. So if I get another one, I get another one, that's fine. But over time, as I collected and traded more, I was lucky enough to acquire two other Les Pauls that I still own today. And those are my 1971 Les Paul Custom, my black one, and my most recent Les Paul acquisition, my 1959 reissue Les Paul from the Gibson demo shop, which I made a video on back when I was talking about the differences between the PRS McCarty single cut and the R9 that I had just purchased. The R9 is my absolute favorite Les Paul, and that black 1971 custom is my baby. I love those two guitars. So what I noticed was I was not picking up the gold top hardly ever. I try my best to play every guitar in this room once a week, even if it's for 5 minutes or 10 minutes here and there. Whenever my family leaves to go to softball practice or go to work and they leave me here alone, the first thing I do is I turn on an amp and I try to play each one of these guitars through my amp for at least a couple of minutes each, just so they all stay in tune, just so they keep getting played, because that's what they're there for. They're there to get played. And I noticed that there are a couple of guitars that I neglect, right? I neglect these old Gretches on the wall down here because I tend to play through high gain amps, and they're not exactly high gain guitars. They get played when I'm playing my Beatles and I get in my Beatles headspace. And this black Rickenbacker, I know I have the back fuzzed out, but there's a 1986 Rickenbacker 360 over there, and I hardly ever play that one. And the gold top, the R7, was kind of falling into that same kind of thing where it was in a weird place in the room. It was hard to get to. It was over a couple of amps, and I was just like, the other two Les Pauls are easier to get to, especially that one right there, my R9 hanging up right there. Okay, and that thing just sounds killer. The gold top sounds great. It plays great. It's got a pretty thick neck. It's a little bit thicker than I'd prefer on a Les Paul, but it sounds great. But I just wasn't playing it a lot. So I did one of my things, and one of my things is I like to throw stuff on Facebook just to see what I get, just see what's out there. I don't necessarily have to sell it. I didn't necessarily want to sell it, but if I could get what I paid for it in cash, that'd be great, because then I can go buy something else. Or if someone trades me or wants to trade me something that's of equal value, I'll take it, but I won't go any less than that number. Right? It's like my hard floor that I won't go below. So I posted it on Facebook, $3,500, and I said it in my description. I was like, listen, I love this guitar. It's a really good playing guitar. If you don't offer me something that's at least the same value of it, then I'm just going to keep it. I'm not going to sell it for pennies. I'm not desperate for it or anything like that. I kind of want to get back what I put into it. And to be really honest, I was very surprised I did not get that many hits on it. I thought I would get a lot more traction on it, but there wasn't really that much. People would offer me a thing here and there, and I'm not going to give it up for something I don't want or I don't need. And I didn't really get too much hits on it. So what happened was I started getting a little itchy about it, and I started looking for things that I actually want on Facebook Marketplace. A couple of things I do want. I want a J45. I want a J45 back, and I want a custom shop Fender. I don't have a custom shop Fender at all. So I don't play Strats very often, so I wouldn't do that, but I would definitely go for a custom shop Telecaster or a custom shop Jazzmaster. So I'm looking for those two things. And because the price of the value of the guitar, $3,500, is so high, I kind of can't trade for things that are lower value, because then I have to ask people for cash, and that never goes well. For instance, I'm trying to move from combo amps to just the heads. So I have a TH30 orange head combo, and I want to get the head version. Or I have a Rock Reverb 50 orange amp combo, and I prefer to have the head instead of the combo. I think it'll display better. I think it'll save me room, space in my little studio here. I won't be bombarded with all these combo amps all over the place. But those amps on Facebook or on Craigslist or whatever, they're going for $800, $1,200, $1,500. And how am I going to, email a person and say, hey, you want my R7 for your orange amp? You can give me, $1,500 and I'll give you the guitar and you give me the amp. They're not going to go for it, right? I'm not even going to bother asking that. If they wanted it, if they saw my ad, they would do it. So it's kind of hard to look for things that are the same value of the guitar and try to, trade for things that way, when you're looking for things that are less valuable than your item. So I went asking around a couple of people. There was a bunch of J45s in Nashville. J45s are everywhere. They're like they grow on trees here. There's at least 7 of them on Facebook Marketplace right now in all different states, right? They have the new custom shop J45s with the custom shop appointments. It's like an all black J45 with ebony fretboard and the big fancy headstock and the fancy binding on it. You have like that, which people are asking like $3,500 for, all the way down to one that's just beat to crap, which is probably the one I want. And guys asking $1,600 for it, right? So and everyone in between is like $2,000, $2,300, $2,500 for ones that are in good shape, but they're not fancy custom shop models, right? So I went around to a bunch of those guys, the higher end ones, right? Because they have to be equal value to what I'm trying to trade them for, and nobody wants to trade, right? Most people just want cash, and you can't blame them. The economy's weird right now. People are trying to save their pennies. They're not trying to spend. Maybe people are trying to downsize. So they weren't interested. So then I found a guy trading or wanted to trade a Fender custom shop 1951 Nocaster Reissue from 2002. So I do my research on it before I offer him, a trade. And I find that, this guitar is being sold on Reverb, or being the price they're asking for is between $4,000 and $4,500, right? What they're selling for might be different, might be a little lower. Okay, it's pretty much never the asking price of the guitars, especially when they're used. So you got to figure it's in the same price range, right? My R7 brand new is going to be $5,000-$6,000, but I'm realistic, and I know the street price is around $3,500 to $4,000. So I figured this would be a good trading point. Now, I've never played a Nocaster. I've never played a 51 reissue Telly. I know that I love Tellys. I have 2 vintage Tellys. I have a 74 and a 78 Telecaster, a thin line and a Telecaster Custom, that I absolutely love, both those guitars. And they're hard. The reason I would want another Telecaster is because those two, the thin line Telecaster has 0 frets, and I tried to get it refretted, and the guy told me it was going to cost like almost $1,000 because of how hard it was to get the frets out of it. So I said, don't worry about it. So that's kind of hard to play, that guitar. So I would never really take that out into a live scenario. And the 78 Telecaster Custom, I absolutely love, and I would play it out. I just haven't done it yet. And I'm kind of afraid because I spent a lot of money on those. I'm kind of afraid to take those out. I don't mind taking out a newer guitar that has wiring that I know is kind of fresh and new, and it's not going to cut out on me and break on me halfway through a gig. So I emailed this guy and I said, after I did my research and I found out that this guitar is supposed to be amazing and, stuff like that, I asked him, would he trade for the Gold Top? And he said yes. So I was very, very happy to trade my R7 for this 2002 Relict Custom Shop 1951 Nocaster. And if you're wondering what a Nocaster is a really interesting story, actually. Okay, so when these Telecasters were first made by Fender back in the 50s, they were called the Broadcaster. That was the name of them. So it's on the headstock, it said Fender Broadcaster. And Broadcaster kind of referred to like broadcasting over a radio, right? It's the guitar you hear on the radio. It's the Broadcaster. Well, they got sued by Gretsch. Gretsch is another guitar company. They also make drums. And Gretsch had a copyright for the name Broadcaster for one of their products. I don't know if it was a guitar or if it was a drum or something like that, but they had the rights to the term Broadcaster. So what Fender had to do was, it used to say Broadcaster here. They cut off the word Broadcaster and they just stuck the Fender sticker onto the headstock of the guitar. So this has been dubbed the Nocaster because there's no name other than the Fender name on the guitar. The next year, 1952, they then turned it into the Telecaster, which refers to television because guitars started being seen on television a lot more. So they called it the Telecaster, right? I went from broadcaster for the radio to Telecaster for the TV. So this is a copy or reissue of that 1951 guitar. And it's got my custom shop logo on the back. It has your serial number in here, which this one is R2865. The R stands for reissue. It's relict, which means it's like the Fender version of the Murphy Lab. So it has a bunch of nicks and scrapes and cuts and wounds and scratches and really cool finish checking. All that has a cool little wear mark in the pick guard. And I could not believe how light this thing is. Okay, this thing only weighs it actually weighs a hair under 7 pounds, which I could not believe, because my other Telecasters, my 78 Telecaster is like a boat anchor. The thin line weighs nothing, but the 78 is pretty heavy. But this one is very, very light, and it looks really cool. I love this finish. This is my favorite finish on a Telecaster, this butterscotch blonde. I do like the see-through blonde one also, but this is my favorite color for this guitar. Problem is, I don't like it. I don't like playing it. It's got a crazy thick neck. The neck on this is really, really, really thick from nut all the way down to the heel, and I just can't get used to it. Like, usually a neck kind of tapers as it goes up, and this kind of just stays one shape for me from top to bottom, and I'm not digging it. Now, I can get past that because I've had some Firebirds that I absolutely loved that had absolute Louisville Slugger necks. So I know that if I play this enough, it will, feel better over time. But even when I plug it in, it's just not my style. This guitar is not meant to be played in the music I'm playing it in. Now, you might think to yourself, Steve, you're an idiot. All guitars can be played for whatever music you want. This guitar, in my opinion, when I plug it in to a Friedman amp or an Orange amp or a Marshall amp, and I crank the gain on it, it doesn't want to do it, right? The guitar's telling me, dude, this isn't what I want to play. And that's just something I get from the guitar. My other tellies, my 78 telly, this black one right here, that thing screams for distortion. It wants distortion. It wants to be a hard rock guitar. It's not telling me that's what it wants to do. It's telling me it wants to do chicken picking. It tells me it wants to do, country, which I don't do. I wish I could do that stuff, but I just can't do it. And I'm not doing this guitar justice. This guitar wants to play other kind of music, and I want other sounds to come out of it that it can't give me. So, and that's fine. I don't mind that. I'm glad I got it. I'm glad I experienced it. I'm going to document it. I'm going to put it in my book. And I promptly put this on Facebook. I am very, very surprised that I got way more attention on that guitar than I did the R7 Gold Top. I've had that guitar up for about 6 or 7 hours now, and I've gotten so many offers and trade offers for it. I put it up for $3,800. Nobody's been willing to give me cash, which is fine. I don't necessarily want cash. I kind of want something else. And I've been offered 1951 LG1 Gibson acoustics, 1969 J50 acoustics, both of which aren't what I'm looking for. I've been offered a 1960s Superverb Fender brown face amp, which is one, from what I understand, is a very sought after amp. It's just not, I'm going to get that, and it's not going to be something that I play because it doesn't have gain on it, or it doesn't have high gain on it. It's not going to give me the sounds that I want to get out of it. And I think the reason I'm running into, I'm not digging any of the things being offered to me is because people that want that guitar are playing the type of music that guitar is meant for, and all their gear reflects that, right? That Superverb, all these other Fender Princeton amps I'm being offered, these are all clean, high headroom amplifiers that are meant to be played clean with a little bit of breakup, maybe if you really push it, or put a little overdrive pedal on it or something like that. These pieces of equipment aren't used for heavier rock stuff, and that's not what this guitar is meant for, right? If I put up a Les Paul, I'm gonna get people that have maybe more high gain amps or humbucking guitar trades to offer me, but this is meant for a certain type of player. So I got one offer, which I'm going to follow through with, and he offered me a 1996 Gibson Les Paul Custom in wine red. Now, automatically, I wanted to say yes, but then I said to myself, you got rid of the R7, why? Because you're not playing it, because you have the other two Les Pauls. Why are you going to get another Les Paul and just have it sit on the wall? And especially, I don't like wine red guitars. Well, I don't want to say that. I don't like wine red customs, Les Paul customs. So why am I going to trade for a guitar that's probably just going to sit on the wall? I'm going to be in the same pickle I was in with the R7, and I'm probably not going to be able to get as much out of the R7, out of the wine red custom than I could. So I started looking through his other options on his Facebook Marketplace, and he has something. He has an amp that I would be interested in, but it's really expensive, and it's called an Amplified Nation amp. If any of you guys know about Dumble or have heard of Dumble amplifiers are supposed to be the world's greatest amplifiers ever, built by Mr. Dumble. I don't know his first name, Joe Dumble, Frank Dumble, Mike Dumble, whatever his name is. I'm just going to call him Mr. Dumble. And he would hand wire and hand modify other amplifiers for famous musicians. Santana, he built amps for him. He has passed away, and he didn't make that many amps, so there's only a handful of his amps floating around in the world. Joe Bonamassa has a couple of them, I'm sure. Or he has at least one or two of them. But after he got real good at modifying, Fender amps and things like that, he started making his own amps, and now everybody clones Dumble amps. So one amp company that makes a clone of his is Sierra Tone. I think I'm saying that right. And there's another amp company that makes a clone of his, which is this Amplified Nation amp company. And there are a whole slew of other amp companies that make Dumble clones. Well, this guy had a Two Rock, which is another company that makes Dumble clones. And he wanted like $5,400 for this Dumble clone. He's valuing my guitar at around $3,800. So I said to him, what would you want for the Two Rock on top of the Telly? And he's like, nah, I'm holding off for cash for that. I don't want to trade for that. I just need $50, $200 cash for that. He goes, I do happen to have an Amplified Nation amp. And he sends me a picture. And it's the Overdrive 50. It's a 2-channel amp, which I love. I don't do 1-channel amps because I need to have my distortion channel, and I like to have my clean channel, so that I can just switch between the two nice and easy. So he said that he had bought the amp brand new for $5,000. It has really cool red like suede Tolex on the outside, which I'm sure I'm gonna rip or get dirty, but that's okay. It looks really cool. And he wanted $1,000 cash on top of the Telly for that. So I offered him another option. My option was the Telly plus a Mesa Boogie Fillmore 25 combo amp. I use this amp as a practice amp and as an amp for rehearsals with my band. I keep it at a buddy's house, my drummer's house, so that whenever I go over there, I don't have to keep carrying an amp back and forth. And it's a cool little amp. It does what Mesa's supposed to do. It gives you that really high gain when you want the high gain. It's a 2-channel amp, so I have my clean and my dirty channel. But I have other amps that I can use for practice. That's the one that I felt was the most. It's the amp that I could part with the easiest. So he said yes. So that's great. Only problem was I couldn't get in touch with my drummer to go get the amp to do the trade with him yet. So he's going on tour for a week or so. He's going. I didn't ask what city he was going to, but he's going to be back in about a week. And unless I get some other type of offer that's really, really awesome, I'm going to trade the Custom Shop 51 Nocaster and my Mesa Boogie Fillmore 25 for a head and 1x12 cabinet Amplified Nation amplifier, or a 50 watt dual overdrive, or whatever it's called. So that's really cool. So that happened this week. Another thing that also happened was my daughter is playing for her all-star softball team, and we've been traveling all over Tennessee to play other all-star teams in other counties and things like that. And I was at one of the games, and I met a new parent there that I haven't met before, and ends up he's a guitar player just like I am. He loves southern rock and country and heavy metal and stuff, and we really got to talking. Our wives kind of leave us alone now. They know not to bother us when we're at the games because we're just going to talk guitar. He's a really cool dude, and he was telling me he was looking for a new flat top acoustic, and I was like, well, I happen to have a Hummingbird, a Gibson Hummingbird that I got a long time ago in a trade for a PRS. I had a PRS custom 24, whale blue 10 top, and I just wasn't feeling it. It was so pretty, I didn't want to play it, and I found this guy in my neighborhood, county, whatever you want to call it, and he ended up trading me 2 Les Paul standards in various conditions, and a Hummingbird with a neck reset or a neck repair on it. The guitar was great. All the guitars were great. Everything this guy gave me was awesome. I don't have any of it anymore. I've traded it all away or sold it. But this Hummingbird had a headstock crack, and I am not afraid of headstock breaks at all. I have a bunch of guitars here that have headstock repairs, and they all sound great, and they're all solid as a rock. So I personally don't care about that. I was always, whenever you buy something with a headstock repair, I'm always afraid that I'm not going to be able to sell it or move it if I wanted to. And that was one of those things where I was like, I'll take it and I'll love it because I always wanted a Hummingbird. But I don't know if I'm ever going to be able to sell it or move it because people are really weird about that. So I told him, I was like, listen, I have a Hummingbird. It has a headstock repair by Joe Glazer. That's what I was told anyway. I have no proof of that, but I was told by the guy who gave it to me that it was repaired by a really famous luthier here in Nashville named Joe Glazer, and that it's solid as a rock. It's a 2004, so it's 20 years old. The headstock repair was done 10 years ago. It's solid. It sounds great. The guitar sounds awesome. I just don't play a lot of acoustic. I have a Martin. I have a Dove, a Gibson Dove. I have a vintage Gibson J160E, the John Lennon model. So I don't really need all these acoustics. I hardly ever play acoustics. So I was like, listen, I have a Hummingbird. It has a headstock repair. I'll give it to you for an insanely good price, since we're buddies. All I want is to buy an amp that I've had my eye on. And if you can cover the cost of that amp, we'll be good. So the amp that I wanted, that I've been looking at for a while, was a Marshall reissue of the Silver Jubilee. Now they come in 2 versions. They come in the 50 watt head and they come in the 25 watt studio head. And I found both of these on Facebook Marketplace in Nashville because Nashville's the heaven of guitar used gear. It's amazing. You never find this amount of gear. Anything you want, you find it here in Nashville on Facebook. It's unbelievable. You just type it in, it's there. It's within 30 miles of you, in any direction. But I found the head, the 50 watt head. Somebody wanted $1,800 for it, which is a pretty good price. And then I found the studio head, the smaller head, which is only 25 watts, with a 2x12 cabinet for $1,300. And I was like, I don't need the big giant 50-watt head. I'll definitely take the 25-watt head with the matching 2x12 cabinet that comes along with it. And that's what we did. My buddy bought the Hummingbird. He loves it. He's been playing it ever since he took it home. I gave it to him for a week. I was like, here, test. I'm going away for a week on vacation. While I'm gone, take the Hummingbird, see if you like it. If you don't like it, don't worry about it. If you like it, we'll do the deal. And I was able to purchase, oh, here it is, the Marshall. Let's see, what number is it? It's called the 2525, 25-watt head, which can be attenuated down to 5 watts, I think. It's pretty cool. This amp's killer. It rocks. It gives you that really cool, like Guns N' Roses type distortion. It looks cool. It's got the silver Tolex, and it's made in the UK, not made in Asia or anything like that. It's made all in the UK. The guy who I bought it from prefers a plexi sound, so he was not using that. And like I said, it came with the 2x12 matching silver cabinet. So I'm really excited to have that and play through that. I played through it a bit before I cranked it up when nobody was home. It sounds killer. So that's a lot of stuff that I did in the past couple of weeks. I'm going back on the road with more softball. State championships are coming up. So wish me and my daughter luck. Well, more my daughter than me. I just get the anxiety of being there watching her. But they're playing for the state championships coming up soon. So I hope they win. And until next time, leave it in the comments. How have you guys been doing any trading over the past couple of weeks, over the summer? Has anything fallen into your laps? Tell me what you think of the stuff that I got, if I got good deals. And when I get that new Amplified Nation amplifier, I'll make sure to do a video on it. And until then, have a good one, everybody. See you later.